Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next half an hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a wonderful discussion with students on approaching exams with confidence and positivity in the 9th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha. Reserve Bank of India keeps repo rate unchanged at 5.25%, maintains neutral stance. Amid growing tensions, US and Iran to hold crucial talks in Oman. White House says Trump prefers diplomacy but warns of military options. And in cricket, India all set to chase 6th Under-19 World Cup title and England their first since 1998. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a two-day official visit to Malaysia on Saturday. During the visit, the Prime Ministers of India and Malaysia will hold bilateral discussions to review progress under the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. Take a look at this report. Narendra Modi's visit to Malaysia will be his third visit to the Southeast Asian nation and the first since Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's state visit to India in August 2024, when bilateral ties were elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership. With a diverse agenda on the table, the visit will set the roadmap for future engagement between the two nations.
PM will hold bilateral discussions with the Prime Minister of Malaysia. They will review progress under the India-Malaysia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, especially in priority areas of cooperation such as trade, investments, defense, security, semiconductors, digital technologies, renewable energy, education, healthcare, and people-to-people exchanges.
The 10th meeting of the India-Malaysia CEOs Forum will also take place in Kuala Lumpur. Prime Minister will interact with leading Malaysian CEOs from key sectors. Malaysia is India's third largest trading partner in ASEAN, with bilateral trade valued at around $20 billion.
On the investment front, our engagement is strong and is growing steadily. Major Malaysian investors like Petronas, Khazanah, IHH Healthcare, IJM Corporation, United Engineers, UEM, etc. have a strong presence in India, while over 200 Indian companies, including 61 joint ventures and 3 Indian PSUs, including those in IT and ITES, manufacturing, construction, and pharmaceuticals, are actively operating in Malaysia.
Digital cooperation and semiconductors will be a key highlight of the visit.
The NPCI is set to sign an agreement with PayNet during the course of the visit. So that will be one of the outcomes expected from the visit. We are in the process of establishing a multi-layered collaboration arrangement through a G2G MOU, semiconductor, industry-led collaborations, and also R&D, both in terms of setting up fabrication centers, also assembly testing centers, etc. Our companies are also interested in collaborating with Malaysia.
Prime Minister will also interact with members of the Indian community in Malaysia. At 2.9 million, the Indian diaspora is among the largest overseas and is all set to welcome the Indian Prime Minister.
We are performing Kathak dance, so we are very excited. In fact, we are feeling very proud as a Malaysian to invite him and showing the Indian dance form to him, presenting it. It's a big opportunity for us, so we are very happy.
I think we are very excited to show the unity that we have here and the connection from cultural viewpoint with India, and it's exciting that the Prime Minister itself is coming here to witness it.
We'll get you that report in a short while from now, but at present,
Bharatanatyam, Kathak, we are the Kathak group, and
we'll get to that.
We have with us Governor, Reserve Bank of India, Shri Sanjay Malhotra, along with Deputy Governors, Shri T. Ravishankar,
announcing the monetary policy statement.
Dr. Poonam Gupta, and Shri Shirish Chandra Murmu. We also have with us today Executive Directors Dr. Ajit Ratnakar Joshi, Shri Sanjay Kumar Hansta, and Shri Indrin Bhattacharya. I also welcome my other colleagues from the Reserve Bank. Before we begin, we have a few housekeeping announcements. Sir, there are 24 participants from the media. I request the media participants to please stick to one question so that everyone gets a chance. I also request everyone to switch on the mic while speaking so that are able to hear clearly. And once you have finished speaking, please switch off the mic. Sir, with your permission, I will now call out the names.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I will request Ms. Latha Venkatesh from CNBC TV 18 to please ask the first question. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bridge, and thank you, Governor, for the opportunity. Well, the worry is not so much with inflation and GDP, with the numbers in transition. The worry is with the way in which near-term call rate and repo rate have fallen. Call rate and TREPS rate have fallen way below the repo rate. I mean, they're almost a percentage point between 4.25 and 4.75 actually. So what's the thinking behind allowing that kind of a fall? On the 1st of February, the question we would have wanted to ask you is, how will you manage this large borrowing program? The market was rightly worried and yields shot up. So that question as well. The immediate short-term fall in call rate and TREPS rate, is it intentional? What is your view of how it may evolve? And separately, this medium term, how are you going to help it? Will it be OMO in liquids? What's the expectation?
So let me say, as mentioned in the monetary policy statement, liquidity is something that is our duty to provide. Ample liquidity, sufficient liquidity as is required to meet. That is the first task. And the second task, to be able to ensure that monetary policy transmission happens, not only in the overnight markets, in the money markets, in the government security markets, the corporate, the credit markets, all the markets. So whatever we do with regard to liquidity is keeping this overarching goal in mind. Now, the tools that we have for liquidity, you are aware, we have a number of tools for them, especially, OMOs, long-term, short-term, VRRs, VRRs, so as to be able to ensure that we give liquidity and we keep the overnight liquidity at the policy repo rate. That is the immediate target, to keep it over there, and then hope that this will transmit into all other markets. The transmission, you are aware, has been quite good, especially, till December in all markets. After December, there was slight hardening, as I have mentioned. There was some hardening in the money markets, but overall, transmission has been excellent. We will continue, as I mentioned in my statement, that we will continue to provide liquidity proactively and preemptively. This is not something, that the exact details is not something that we always or by rule mention in the policy statement or only, in the policy statement. Liquidity is a continuous operations that is done. So you have seen that we have provided liquidity even outside the policy statement, as we did, and later when we felt that there was a requirement for liquidity in the second half of January. We followed it up with whatever we had announced in the monetary policy statement. We followed it up with liquidity. So all I can say is that we will continue to provide sufficient liquidity with an aim that the monetary policy transmission happens in all markets.
So, sorry to intrude, but there is no mention of the word switches or buybacks by you or by the government. So the market is worried in the medium term. Right now it is a little stupid to ask about the liquidity is so plentiful now. But in the medium term, do these things still, I mean, is
Are
there
you,
a
are you referring to the government? See, the government program, I think, again, we have been looking at the gross numbers, which I don't think really, is the correct way to look at it, frankly. The way to look at it, so we have been looking at, 17 plus lakh crore or something. But there are, much more redemptions this year, coming year, next year, than, there were last year. So as a result of that, the gross calendar will obviously, be higher. But if you look at the net numbers, 11.53 lakh crore is the number for this year, government securities borrowing program. Next year, it is projected, it is budgeted to be 11.73 lakh crore. It's only 20,000 crore more, which is, I mean, one would have expected at least, if the budget size is going up by almost 9% or so, 8 to 9%. GDP is expected to grow at 10%. One would expect a 10% growth. The growth is much less. We should really be looking, at net. You find that this year or in the year to come, there will be money will be raised also through the treasury bills, which will help, in further. I think it will help, in managing the yield curve better, and we also find that the budgeted numbers for small savings are also, quite conservative. So I think, the borrowing program that the government is looking is much on the lower side, and they should be able to raise these kind of resources at very reasonable prices. I'll request Mr. Ravi Shankar, to further add onto the switches, some 2.5 lakh crore of switches have also been planned. That will also, further help on the liquidity and the management of the yield curves.
That's right. And buybacks are not factored in at this point in time. They are factored in during the course of the year. To the extent there will be buybacks, the gross borrowing number to that extent come down. I just wanted to, Governor explained all the factors clearly. I just wanted to draw the attention to the sense that the, gross borrowing is large. We should put them in. We were borrowing 1.9 lakh crores per year. 2 years later, 2.910, we were borrowing 5.8, 3 times the gross borrowing. Was that managed? That was managed. You look at relatively. Look at 2020, 2021. We were borrowing about 7 lakhs. In 2 years' time, we were borrowing 15 lakhs, right? So these numbers, go up. If you compare to that, the increase is nothing significant at all. I'm certain Reserve Bank will be able to manage the government borrowing program quite efficiently. Thank you.
Thank you, sirs. We will take some more questions from our left side before we come to the right. Next, I'll ask Manojit Saha from Business Standard to ask his question. Manojit, please.
The trade rates have collapsed, which has created some pain for the non-banks. But at the same time, SDF, bank parking in SDF has gone up very significantly, over 3 lakhs. Is there a plan to tackle lazy banking? Is there a discussion on whether you can cap how much banks can borrow from SDF, or widening the corridor, bringing SDF down so that banks are forced to lend to productive resources? And consequently, do you think the CD ratio of more than 80%, 81% is a new normal now, given the constraints of deposits that we have seen?
See, we did review the liquidity management framework. Your question is actually linked to, the liquidity management framework that was done recently, and not many changes were announced. Let's keep in mind that this is a complex subject, because these three markets, your TREPs, call money markets, and the repo market, we mentioned that when, we decided not to change it. Medium to long term, there is a very high correlation. And so that's why we continue to target the call money.
So that was the press conference by RBI Governor. He was addressing questions from media, RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra, after he announced the RBI monetary policy statement in the morning today. The press conference is continuing. In the bulletins that follow, we will get to the other highlights of the press conference. But meanwhile, we turn focus to other updates, other news items which we are tracking. As exam season draws closer, the country's most awaited student-centric dialogue is back to ensure students give exams with confidence and positivity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's unique interaction with students, Pariksha Pe Charcha 2026, now in its 9th edition, was held today. Addressing the students, Prime Minister Modi stressed that education should not feel like a burden and it needs our total involvement. He added that education in bits and pieces does not ensure success. Instead of focusing on marks, everyone should focus on where they have made it in life. The Prime Minister stressed that education is just a medium of our development and exams should never be the ultimate goal. Rather, the ultimate goal is all-round development. During the interaction with Prime Minister Modi, students sought his advice on the dilemma of balancing board exams and competitive exams.
नाम एकम कौर है, मैं पंजाब से आई और मेरा आपसे ये प्रश्न है कि जो 12वीं कक्षा के स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं वो अपने बोर्ड्स के एग्ज़ाम के साथ जो कंपटीशन एग्ज़ाम्स होते हैं उसकी भी तैयारी करते हैं। क्या ये सही है? क्योंकि उन दोनों एग्ज़ाम्स के जो एग्जामिनेशन पैटर्न होता है वो बहुत अलग होता है और वो एग्ज़ाम्स आते भी सेम टाइम पे हैं।
ये चिंता आपकी सही है। एक ही समय में दो मान लीजिए क्रिकेट का खेल खेल रहा है, उसी समय उसको फुटबॉल का भी मैच में जाना है तो उसको लगता है कि मैं क्रिकेट के लिए मेहनत करूं कि फुटबॉल के लिए।
यस सर।
मेरा आग्रह रहेगा तो आपको पहली प्रायोरिटी 12th को देनी पड़ेगी। लेकिन अगर हमने एक विद्यार्थी के रूप में जो मेरे उम्र से, मेरे क्लास से जुड़े हुए सिलेबस को आत्मसात किया है, तो कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम उसके लिए अलग मेहनत नहीं करनी पड़ेगी।
यस सर।
ये बाय प्रोडक्ट होगा। कुछ माँ बाप को क्या रहता है, इस उम्र से पहले ये हो जाना चाहिए।
यस सर।
तो मैं माँ बाप से कहूँगा उनकी क्षमता, योग्यता, रुचि के अनुसार कि बच्चों को खिलने दो।
Also speaking on the importance of dreams, Prime Minister Modi said that dreaming is essential, but real success comes only through action and consistent effort.
जुले सर, मेरा नाम पद्मा है, मैं लद्दाख से हूँ। तो मेरा ये प्रश्न है कि हमारे उम्र के बच्चे को बड़े सपने देखना चाहिए और उन्हें पूरा करने की शुरुआत कहाँ से करना चाहिए सर?
सपने न देखना वो तो क्राइम है। सपने देखने ही चाहिए, लेकिन सपनों को गुनगुनाते रहना ये कभी काम नहीं आता है। और इसलिए जीवन में कर्म को प्रधान देना चाहिए। मैं जहां हूं वहां मुझे सफल होना है, तभी मैं आगे जाऊंगा। मैं देखता रहूं और मुझे अगर पेड़ पे चढ़ना ही है तो आम देखता रहूं तो आम नहीं पकड़ता। अब जैसे मान लीजिए हमारा मन कर गया कि मुझे एस्ट्रोनॉट होना है और मुझे चंद्रमा पे जाना है, तो फिर मुझे पढ़ना चाहिए कि पहले एस्ट्रोनॉट कौन हुए, उनकी बायोग्राफी क्या थी, ये स्पेस होता क्या है। धीरे धीरे उसमें रुचि हमारी बढ़ानी चाहिए। फिर टीवी पे कोई कार्यक्रम है तो उसको खाद देखना चाहिए, तो आपको खाद पानी मिलता रहेगा, हैं, आपको फर्टिलाइजर जिसको कहें मिलता रहेगा, तो वो विचार आपका पनपेगा। औरों को बताने से फायदा नहीं होगा। कभी कभी हम बता देंगे, भाई मजाक उड़ाएंगे, ये तो एस्ट्रोनॉट बनने वाला है। तो हमारे मन के सपने पब्लिक नहीं करने चाहिए, लेकिन लिख करके रखने चाहिए।
Speaking on gaming skills, Prime Minister Modi said that India's rich folklore can inspire meaningful game creations.
सर मेरा एक आपसे क्वेश्चन था। मुझे सर गेमिंग में बहुत इंटरेस्ट है, लेकिन मेरी सोसाइटी बोलती है कि सब गेमिंग वगैरह छोड़ो और पढ़ाई में ध्यान दो, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरा फ्यूचर गेमिंग में करूँ। जो मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा सर कि मैं सही रास्ते से जा रहा हूँ या गलत?
माँ बाप का नेचर कैसा होता है, पहले डांटते रहते मत करो मत करो मत
कैसे?
लेकिन फिर भी आप चुपचाप करते रहते, और मान लीजिए आपने मेडल ले लिया तो क्या करेंगे?
खुश
वो पूरे मोहल्ले में जाएंगे, देखिए मेरे बेटे ने किया, मेरे बेटे ने किया, मेरे बेटे ने किया। तो आपका सक्सेस उनका सम्मान बन जाता है।
यस सर।
फिर वो आपके साथ जुड़ जाते हैं।
यस सर।
भारत के अंदर इतनी कथा कहानियां, आप कभी सोचे हैं कि पंचतंत्र पर मैं गेम बनाऊं, मैं गेम क्रिएटर बनूं? और जैसा मानसी का अपना एक पेज है, आप भी अपना एक सोशल मीडिया प्रोफाइल बनाइए और आप 1 या 2 गेम खुद तैयार कीजिए और इन गेम को आप में से लॉन्च कीजिए, तो आपके घर के लोगों को लगेगा अरे देखो इतना छोटा है, 10,000 इसके फॉलोअर खेलते हैं, 20,000 खेलते हैं, तो घर के लोग फिर आइडिया देना शुरू करेंगे। देखो ये हनुमान जी वाली वो कथा है ना, तुम उस पर गेम बनाओ, देखो कैसे हैं। फिर कहेंगे अभिमन्यु वाली वो घटना है, गेम बनाओ कैसे अभिमन्यु बाहर निकलेगा। तो आपको नए नए आइडियाज आएंगे। और इसलिए गेमिंग में आपकी रुचि है, अच्छी चीज है, आप कभी भी संकोच मत कीजिए। लेकिन टाइम पास और डेटा सस्ता है भारत में, है टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत महंगी नहीं है, तो बस लगे रहो। ऐसे ही मस्ती के लिए खेलना ऐसा जो जुआ चलता है ना, ये वो हमें देश में होने नहीं देना है। मैंने अभी कानून बनाया कि जो जुआ खेलते हैं, गेम में पैसे लगाते हैं, वो बर्बादी है।
यस सर।
उसको नहीं होने देना। लेकिन गेमिंग एक स्किल है और उसमें स्पीड भी होती है, बहुत स्पीड होती है। यस, आपकी इतनी अलर्टनेस बने, एक प्रकार से स्वयं के डेवलपमेंट के लिए भी वो एक अच्छा प्रकार है। लेकिन बेस्ट क्वालिटी की गेम ढूंढ करके अपनी एक्सपर्टाइज पाने का प्रयास करना चाहिए।
So that was about Prime Minister's Pariksha Pe Charcha that was held today. Up next, we're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Food systems contribute to 1/3 of global planet warming emission. In today's episode, let's take a look at what happens when food systems stop working for everyone.
After Hati Bondo arrived, we discussed as a village the challenge that we were facing, and we came to the conclusion that we should sow some crops, especially for the elephants.
The Meramo Cafe is basically promoting the circular economy. So there's not much, transportation involved in that process. So this is, one way that, we are reducing, the carbon emission from that point of view.
Is probably laughing because despite the fact that they're cleaning up other people's problems for free, it seems like nobody here actually wants them to be doing it.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get you more updates. After weeks of military threats and arguments over a venue, US and Iran are about to begin talks in Oman today. The talks were set to go ahead even though the two sides have had differences over the agenda, and that has increased doubts about the prospects for a deal. Trump has threatened to carry out strikes on Iran if an agreement cannot be reached. The US previously said it wanted the discussions to include Iran's missile arsenal and other issues, while Tehran has insisted on focusing exclusively on its disputed nuclear program. It was unclear whether that disagreement had been resolved. Moving on to Russia-Ukraine crisis now. The second round of US-brokered talks between Russia and Ukraine concluded in Abu Dhabi, the UAE, on Thursday, with both sides agreeing to a large-scale prisoner exchange but failing to achieve substantive breakthroughs on core issues such as territorial arrangements and a ceasefire. The talks ended with no joint political or security statement, underscoring persistent differences between Russia and Ukraine on key matters, including territorial disputes, ceasefire arrangements, and security guarantees. Ukrainian President Zelensky also said that the next peace talks with the delegations of the US and Russia will be held soon. However, no timetable or arrangements for the next round of talks were announced, highlighting continued uncertainty in the political settlement process. 12 people were arrested on Thursday while protesting outside United States Columbia University, where professors, students and supporters staged a sit-in against US immigration and customs enforcement. Demonstrators briefly blocked traffic on street, protesting against the immigration and customs enforcement. Protesters accused the university of cooperating with ICE and called for the campus to be declared a sanctuary. A spokesperson for the Student Workers of Columbia Union said recent ICE actions on campus had created fear and reiterated calls for the university to change policing practices and adopt a sanctuary designation. Thailand votes on Sunday in a tightly contested election that pits popular reformist forces against conservatives, with former leader Thaksin Shinawatra still a looming influence from prison. The country's next government faces pressing challenges, including a long-standing border dispute with Cambodia, persistent transnational cyber scams, and sluggish economic growth. No party is expected to win an outright majority, raising the prospects of coalition negotiations. Previously, the Reformist People's Party won the most votes and seats, but its prime ministerial candidate was blocked and the party was later dissolved. Thaksin's Pheu Thai party, which came second, formed a coalition with conservatives Boomjaital. The current Prime Minister, Anutin Chanvirakul, was appointed in September, marking Thailand's third Prime Minister in 2 years. Thailand's political history remains turbulent, shaped by coups, protests and judicial bans. Let's talk of sports now. India will strive for a record-extending 6th title when it locks horns with England in the Under-19 World Cup final in Harare on Friday. Both teams enter the summit clash unbeaten in the tournament. India have clinched the trophy 5 times and finished runners-up in the 2024 edition against Australia. 14-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi with 264 runs had been India's most consistent performer, while Henil Patel has been bowling ace with 11 wickets. Meanwhile, England chased their second title and their first since 1998. Ben Mance with 399 runs and captain Thomas Ryu with 299 runs have been at the forefront of England's campaign, while pacer Manny Lumsden is the top wicket taker in the tournament with 15 scalps. Royal Challengers Bengaluru created history by winning their second Women's Premier League title with a record-breaking chase in the final. Chasing 204, the highest total in any WPL or IPL final, RCB reached the target with 6 wickets and 2 balls to spare. Captain Smriti Mandhana led from the front with a superb 87, while Georgia Wall added 79 in a match-winning 165-run partnership. Earlier, Delhi Capitals posted 203 for 4, led by Jemima Rodriguez 57 and a late cameo from Shinal Henry. RCB lost Grace Harris early but stayed calm throughout the chase. Despite a few late wickets, RCB sealed a famous victory and completed a historic double. Indian shooters Suruchi Singh and world champion Samrat Rana had to settle for a silver in the 10 meters air pistol mixed team event at the Asian Championship in New Delhi on Thursday. The Indian duo hit the ground running, posting 100.5 in the first series to lead the 4-team final, but the Uzbek pair Nigina Sedkulova and Muhammad Kamalov surged ahead by the third series and held their advantage through the elimination stage to claim gold. Chinese Taipei finished 3rd position. In the women's junior event, Rashmika Sehgal won gold, while teammate Vanshika Chaudhary bagged silver in the 10 meters air pistol event. Priyanshi Purva won gold, while compatriot Chehak Kola clinched silver in the 10 meters air pistol women youth event. 2 more gold medals for the hosts came in the team competitions. India finished the day with a rich haul of 10 golds, 5 silvers and 1 bronze medal. And with that, we end this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.